players for getting this far in the tournament. I know a little bit of something about Yoko's team that she's been running for the past few weeks, I think. It's a very popular team in Japan, and in fact it was used by Aaron Zhang at the recent Massachusetts regionals. It's a sand-based team around, the classic Sand Rush, Excadrill, and Tyranitar combination. Throwback to 2011 almost, 2012, sorry. But Nicholas here has one very interesting Pokemon in this lineup. We won't reveal it just yet until we see it on Team Preview, but I'm sure it will incite some reaction from the audience, and it promises to be a very exciting game. As you see on the top screen here, Amoonguss, Excadrill, Tyranitar, Azumarill, Aegislash, and Salamence, basically the entire Japan Cup winning team. And Nicholas has that Metagross, Terrakion, Sylveon, Hydreigon, Zapdos, and the Golduck. So straight away that Golduck sticks out like a sore thumb, but with the advent of weather recently with Charizard Y, Rain, as well as you look at Yoko's team with the sand, Cloud9 on Golduck may just be the correct call.
I mean, Golduck here actually has a weird advantage. As you said, Cloud9 will cancel out the Sandstorm of Yoko's team, and being a water type, it can end off super effective for the Tyranitar. It can maybe set up ice types against Salamence, super effective water types against Excadrill. I mean, it does have to be careful of that Amoonguss out there, but generally it does have a good matchup against Yoko's team.
For sure, and we see Yoko here does have decent ways to deal with this Golduck. She has that Amoonguss, which promises to be really powerful in its redirection. However, she has to be careful about that Metagross, which, from the looks of things, doesn't really have that many measures to aside from maybe the Excadrill's Earthquake or the Salamence perhaps carrying Earthquake as well, or maybe a Fire type move coverage. I'm not sure how closely Yoko has formulated her team to the Japan Nationals team, Japan Cup team, but the Japan Cup team used actually a special Mega Salamence, so it'd be interesting to see whether she's gone with a more physical set here or stuck with what Japan used. As we are going to see the Sand Lane coming out from Yoko, Tyranitar, Excadrill, as Golduck, Metagross is going to be the choice of effect here, as the weather effect didn't disappear, as Cloud9 activates before Sandstream. So that is some huge information to take going into turn 1.
Yeah. Now Nicholas at least knows that if in game 2 or if he does go to game 3, he wouldn't want to send Golduck as lead, and would want to wait until Sand is up and then send Golduck to stop the Sandstorm. However, in this position, both players are in a relatively okay position. Golduck does have a slight advantage, being able to deal super effective moves onto either Pokemon, Tyranitar or Excadrill, although Tyranitar does have that 50% special defense bonus thanks to its rock type.
For those of you who may not be as familiar with the abilities of Cloud9, it is one of the rarer abilities in the game. What it does is it basically negates the effects of any weather on the field. So in this case, Sand Rush from Excadrill not going to be able to double its speed, as well as Tyranitar's rock typing not giving it that 33% boost to its special defense here. So a stall from this Golduck is going to do quite a bit of damage to this Tyranitar. Tyranitar is going to switch out for Yoko there though. Not liking the matchup, gonna send in the Salamence here, gonna drop that Intimidate, but Metagross has that clear body.
Metagross against, sending off Salamence against Metagross kind of says that the Salamence should definitely have some way to deal with Metagross.
As Golduck goes for the Screech, gonna harshly lower the defense as Earthquake comes out from the Excadrill, gonna outspeed this Metagross, doesn't get, reveals a life orb as Ironhead going to drop this Salamence for sure. I mean, that Screech is a pretty big play. Salamence not that bulky, but a huge Earthquake coming out from Yoko from the get-go.
I mean, it was a good play on both sides. Unfortunately for Yoko, that Earthquake was just not enough to either get rid of Metagross or the Golduck right there. As you can see, both of them hanging on with a bit of health.
Yoko loses her Mega Pokemon right on turn 1, but in this case, I think it may have well been worth it, as she has done a lot of damage to both the Nicholas Pokemon, ready to be picked off by anything she has in the bag. Perhaps the Azumarill with its priority Aqua Jet in this case.
But we do have Yoko taking her time selecting her Pokemon. She still has not revealed. Oh, it's an AG Slash.
Alright, good switch in as well. Aegis Slash basically walls Metagross, and Golduck being locked into that Screech. We do know it's most likely Choice Scarf, and therefore locked into Screech here. So one of Yoko's Pokemon is going to get a free turn here, and that Pokemon is going to do a lot of damage to whatever Nicholas has on his side of the field.
Yoko probably would not want to go with another Earthquake, as it will actually damage her own AG Slash ability. Despite being in shield form, you still wouldn't want to get a super effective hit by your own Pokemon.
Aegis Slash in the shield form though, still not going to be taking enough damage from a -2, Iron Head or a Zen Headbutt in this case. So Aegis Slash is definitely going to get off an attack here. The question is, which Pokemon does Yoko prioritize? Is she going to get the Golduck locked into Screech off the field, or does she prefer to get rid of the Mega Metagross, which could potentially protect as well?
Yoko taking her time choosing, as you mentioned, she does have her choices, either getting rid of Metagross or Golduck. We see a Golduck switching out
into what I believe is the Terrakion here, so an Earthquake here could be huge as Metagross goes for the Protect. Let's see what... Alright, Dexter goes for the Protect as well, not wanting to take any damage. As let's see what Aegis Slash targets down here. Is it going to go for the Terrakion? Shadow Ball into the Terrakion, gets the read correct, and drops with a critical hit, dropping Terrakion to under 50%. So Yoko's been getting a lot of free damage on her opponents in this game.
Yoko may have actually lost her Salamence on the switch in, however right now she does have a lot of damage onto two of Nicholas' own Pokemon. And now although Nicholas still has 4, all of them are pretty much low HP, and Yoko, given a chance, she probably can clean up from there.
Crucially though, the fact that Nicholas has switched out his Golduck means that the effect of Cloud9 is no longer active, and Excadrill is now the fastest Pokemon on the field with that Sand Rush ability. A quick Wide Guard from a K-Shield from the Aegis Slash and an Earthquake is going to pick up KOs for Yoko, sorry, whatever way Nicholas decides to play this out, unless he does have that Hydreigon or Zapdos in the bag.
So as you mentioned, we see a King Shield from AG Slash.
Aegis Slash going for the King Shield, not wanting to take any damage from his partner's Earthquake. Earthquake gonna go straight up, gonna pick up a double KO on the Terrakion and the Mega Metagross here. Sand Rush is in the house!
Well, now we're going to see Golduck coming back in, negating that Sand Rush. However, it's that Excadrill has done his work, KOing 2 Pokemon just quickly, just like that. And with a Golduck, not really that much HP to begin with, as AG Slash is already in defense form, so it can deal a lot of damage back.
So we see the last Pokemon on Nicholas' side of the field is that Hydreigon, which has a good matchup against Aegis Slash in this case. Life Orb, Dark Pulse does a lot of damage, if not outright. Doesn't actually get the 1-hit KO on Aegis Slash actually, but does a lot of damage to it. And Golduck will be closely in pursuit with its Choice Scarf attack as well.
Unfortunately, Excadrill can't use Earthquakes anymore, as while it does kill off the Golduck, can't do anything against the Hydreigon.
The priority here for Yoko though has to be to get rid of this Golduck, as once Golduck goes down, basically she has free reign to use Sand over Nicholas here. It's interesting to see that Golduck is actually causing so many problems in a weather-based team, denying, as you know. Ooh, we see the Protect come out.
I guess she just wants to preserve Excadrill in case
the double target, Dark Pulse also going into the Aegis Slash. Is it going to be able to take it down? Aegis Slash goes down. Great read by Nicholas there, predicting the Excadrill Protect as Hydreigon reveals his Life Orb. So not Choice Specs in this case. So therefore he did need to double target that Aegis Slash in order to pick up the KO, but Aegis Slash having used his King Shield the previous turn, most likely not going to try to go for another attack. So now we see this matchup is back to 2-2. Cloud9 here.
Cloud9 still in effect, so Expressions doesn't have the speed boost, and Tyranitar does not have the extra special defense thanks to the Sense Stop and its rock typing. So, I mean, as you mentioned, Golduck is probably the key target for Yoko here, so that she has a very good position over Salamence.
I think in this case though, Yoko has this game pretty much locked up as, Golduck has to attack here, and it has to pick between scalding the Excadrill or scalding the Tyranitar. So if she scalds the Excadrill, in this case, Tyranitar is going to get a free attack off, but Tyranitar actually holds on here, going to get off the Rock Slide. Golduck avoids, but does land on the Hydreigon. Does the Hydreigon get on the Earth Power? It does onto the Excadrill here. Drops the Excadrill. Not the play I expected Yoko to make there. I think possibly low kicking into the Golduck would have been a better play, picking up the KO, and then it's a 1v1 against the Hydreigon that she's faster than. So not really the most optimal plays by Yoko in the end, and that's going to cost her the first game of this best of 3.
Yoko did have a good position at the start. When taking out the Golduck, would have actually a big advantage throughout the whole game. As you see now, Nicholas taking game 1 in the best out of 3 match.
Golduck picking up the final KO there. Nicholas moving 1-0 up in this set. It was a pretty closely contested match all the way to the end. A bit back and forth. Yoko taking some early momentum, but Nicholas closing out the match with some. Due to some, questionable playing by Yoko on her part, but I'm sure, being the player that she is going to bounce back. She has another shot to get herself back into the series, and I wouldn't take it away from her to do exactly that. Alright, as we are going to go right into game 2 here, Yoko probably is going to think about switching up her leads here. That Sand lead puts her in a rather disadvantaged position from the get-go, especially now that Nicholas has revealed his choice Scarf Golduck. However, I'm not sure how she's going to be able to recover from this, as most of her Pokemon are going to be taking a lot of damage from this Golduck. Possibly, bringing in Aegislash and Azumarill is an appropriate call here, or even the Amoonguss to start redirecting attacks away from Nicholas's Golduck here. And try to pick up the early KO on the Golduck as well. Yoko obviously, she's joined us in Singapore rather late, just last year, but she's a very experienced VGC player, has been playing in the circuit back in Japan for a very long time. So in this case, Nicholas showing that experience isn't everything, and that he's able to overcome even some of the very experienced players in this game. We are going to jump right into game 2 here. Nicholas just needs to win one more game to advance to the finals, while Yoko requires to come back with 2 games in order to take her place. Yoko is going to switch it up with the Aegislash and Salamence in this case, but Nicholas, thinking that his leads were perfectly fine in the previous game, going to lead with that Golduck Metagross again. Intimidate, of course, not going to be a big factor in this matchup, as Metagross does have that clear body ability, and Golduck uses special attacks here. Golduck, you have to think Golduck does carry that 4x super effective Ice Beam as well as its final move, which didn't show in the previous game. So Salamence here is not exactly in the best positions. However, if Golduck chooses to stay in here, it's going to be eating a super effective Shadow Ball from the Aegislash. So Yoko has to make some plays here. Is it worth trading her Salamence for this Golduck, as Nicholas actually switches out his Metagross, sending in the Hydreigon instead?
I mean, it's a good switching for Nicholas' side. I mean, Metagross does not really Dealing well with either AG Slash or Salamence, and Hydreigon is a good switchy here. Very safe. However, Dragon, if Yoko does have a Dragon type on Salamence, this might be dangerous.
Goldog does reveal that Ice Beam, gonna fire off into that Silent Protector. Aegislash gonna stance change. Is it gonna fire off that Shadow Ball? Shadow Ball goes into the... It should be the Goldog. No, but it goes into the Hydreigon. Not very effective, gets a special defense drop, but that is not the play that Yoko needed to make there. Yoko possibly out-predicting herself there, predicting that, you know, Nicholas wouldn't allow his Golduck to be KO'd that easily, and trying to pick up the KO on the Metagross instead. As Salaman's going to switch out there, not wanting to take any damage from the Ice Beam into Tyranitar.
Setting up the set, but with Cloud9, not really going to do much there.
Aegislash is going to switch back into Shield form, going to protect himself from any attacks this turn. And, you know, Yoko's going to take minimal damage this turn. The Ice Beam is going to be... Oh. Anyway. Alright. You know, Yoko has protected herself from you know, potentially fatal damage that turn. But she still stuck herself into a rather awkward position where, you know, Aegislash has burned King Shield again and risking getting double targeted into by Goldog and Aegislash as it did the previous game. Apologies, apparently Goldog is not a water psychic type, my mistake. That just shows how rare Golduck is used in the metagame.
I mean, you don't really see Golduck, and seeing Golduck with the gem on his head makes you assume it's a psychic type.
I think I watched too much of the Pokemon anime where, you know, Misty side out using confusion. But in this case, Nicholas is going to pull up the switch here. Golduck going to bounce out for this Metagross. As Aegislash switches out from Yoko, not wanting to get double targeted into, going into the X control here. Good switch as low kick does come out. Hydreigon picks up the KO. Fantastic play.
That was a good knockout there, and switching it into however, it does give Nicholas a free switching back into Golduck, not giving Escargil that speed advantage that it could have had. So maybe not as great, because a double KO would be a better position for Yoko, but still managing to take out Hydreigon, a big threat to Salamence.
Now, Nicholas has to decide what he wants to lock his Golduck into. If he chooses to lock himself in the Skull, then Salamence is pretty much free to come in here and start wreaking havoc on Nicholas' side of the field. However, if he chooses to, you know, go for the predictive play and Ice Beam, perhaps the Tyranitar slot, expecting the Salamence to come back in, but we see Yoko is going to switch into the Aegislash. Safe switch here.
Nicholas finally mega evolving his Metagross now, having a chance to do so.
Aegislash, now that Hydreigon has gone down, Aegislash is in a very good position to start picking up KOs here. Golduck, although not psychic type, is still relatively frail, as Skull is going to do a good amount of damage to Aegislash, but crucially not getting the burn there. When you have really bulky Pokemon like Aegislash, you really don't want to be taking any fixed chip damage. And in this case, Skull having a 30% burn rate is rather risky.
I mean, Aegislash is one of those Pokemon that usually want to attack and defend, as being stuck in attack form is not something you want, as it's very fail in attack form and almost any attack can knock it out straight away. So being forced to start attacking and defending, that chip damage from burn will stack up quite a lot.
Metagross having burn to protect the previous turn though is now open to getting Shadow Ball by this Aegislash. And now with Hydreigon gone, Nicholas no longer has a Ghost type resist to take Shadow Balls for this Metagross here. I really wonder whether Golduck's Skull is enough to take out Excadrill. Excadrill does have relatively high HP and might be able to tank, you know, Skull, which doesn't have the highest base power, only 80. And being able to survive and fire back with a Life Orb boosted Earthquake in this situation could prove, you know, hugely momentum shifting for Yoko. But no, Yoko is going to switch out the Excadrill there, not wanting to risk potential Skull as Golduck locked into Skull is going to fire it off onto the Salamence.
Not very effective, but let's see whether it gets a burn. No burn, and Iron Hit does come out from Anchorvale onto the Salamence.
The double target onto the Salamence. Aegis is going to get a free attack here. Shadow Ball finally coming off. Is it going to go down onto the Metagross? Onto the Metagross, and takes up a one-hit KO! Metagross goes down!
And now Yoko is in a very good 4-2 lead right now, being relatively comfortable. However, the Golduck still is a bit of annoyance, with Yoko not being able to make full use of Sand. But she's still in quite a great advantage right now.
Exactly, and we see that although Golduck is on the field, it is locked into Skull, and Skull isn't the move you want to be using against the Mega Salamence.
Yeah, Yoko now can just take out the Terrakion and leave the Golduck, give the Golduck alone. Just scalding, not really dealing too much damage from here.
Mega Salamence here going to be outspeeding, going to be able to take another Skull, I think, for a critical hit, and it's going to be able to fire off, an attack, whatever it chooses to use. We haven't actually seen the Mega Salamence use an attack so far in this set, and this might be finally the chance for it to attack.
Yeah, we saw Mega Salamence in the previous game just coming in, getting screeched, and just getting hit by one hit.
And if Yoko chooses to, Nicholas chooses to Skull the Salamence slot, for example, it gives Aegislash a free turn to get off further attacks, possibly a Flash Cannon onto this Terrakion. However, you have to think that Golduck is the bigger threat on the field at this point in time.
Yeah, if your Salamence and Aegislash is down now, Yoko has no choice but to switch in Excursion and Tyranitar onto a Skull.
But it would be a switch here from Yoko. Okay, you know what, this play makes a lot of sense now. As Aegislash wants to revert back into its King Shield to minimize damage, possibly trying to sacrifice her Tyranitar here, recognizing that, but the Skull actually goes into the Aegislash here as the Sandstorm subsides, but in this case with Cloud9 on the field, not really going to be affecting anything. I think what Yoko is trying to do there was trying to sacrifice her Tyranitar and therefore get a switch back into into Salamence for free, but in this case not paying off as Nicholas actually inadvertently scalded into the Aegislash's King Shield here.
I mean, on the right side, Yoko does have a defense mode, Aegislash free to attack. As being attacked in this mode, it wouldn't really get much damage from Skull or even any attack from Terrakion.
And we hear the calls for Hyper Voice coming from the crowd, as we're probably just waiting for Salamence to make a reappearance on the field right now. The question is, how is Yoko going to maneuver in such a way that she does not take too much damage?
Yoko is still in the lead, however she can't afford to be careless right now, as she already lost game 1 and losing game 2 will prevent her that she's out of the tournament. Make sure getting top 4, but I mean if you do join the tournament, your goal is to get top.
If I were Nicholas here, I probably wouldn't want to. It's actually a pretty tricky position because if he goes for the Tyranitar, then Aegislash gets a free attack. As Aegislash moves before everything else on the field, going for the Shadow Sneak onto the Golduck here. How much damage is it gonna do? Not enough, and Skull is gonna come off from the Golduck onto Tyranitar here. Gonna take it out.
Kind of a weird play recently.
Okay. Well, unfortunately, maybe she was going for something else that we couldn't see there. But Yoko's in a great position here to bring back in her Salamence and start firing off Hyper Voices. With that Shadow Sneak, she can go for the Shadow Sneak to break any potential Focus Sash on this Terrakion as well, and then go straight for a Hyper Voice. Yoko has the Pokemon lead here, but definitely the game is not over.
Man, as you see just now, she pretty much just lost her Tyranitar without doing much against Terrakion or Golduck. So having a lead does not mean you get a win.
Exactly. this Golduck lock into the skull is still rather scary, as you know Yoko's last Pokemon is that Excadrill,
Yeah,
which is not fainted. And in this case, she doesn't really want to get herself into a position where she's forced with an Excadrill out against Terrakion and a Golduck, which are both faster than her. Aegislash is going to use that King Shield though to put herself back in the shield form. Skull does go off correctly onto the Salamence here though. Not enough to get the KO as Rockslide outspeeds the Salamence. That is a very fast Terrakion.
Yoko may have actually kind of choked the game here if she loses this.
And that just suddenly changes the dynamics of the entire game. Now with Golduck, Golduck that can use Scald and Terrakion here, both able to outspeed this Excadrill. I don't know. I think Nicholas has this game.
Nice. I'm actually quite speechless on what happened because Yoko had a commanding lead and now look at what happened.
Yeah, I mean, definitely strange that Salamence was actually outsped by the Terrakion. The Terrakion can't be holding that Focus Sash. I mean, that Choice Scarf because Golduck has it. So it has to be something like a modest Salamence with bulk.
I guess. I mean, it would make sense or not. It would make a bit of sense on the normal Salamence due to Intimidate, but this is a Mega Salamence, so I'm not really entirely sure what kind of build she was trying to make for Salamence at the time.
Yoko's gonna just go for broke though, getting off that Protect with her Excadrill, but Nicholas makes a correct read, going for the Scald onto Aegislash. Gets the burn this time, finally, as close combat does go into the Excadrill. Shadow Ball coming out from Aegislash onto the Golduck here. Doesn't pick up the KO, and that is pretty much going to be game.
All Golduck has to do is just scout the Excadrill and Terrakion can just use a Rock Slide and pretty much pick it up from there.
Exactly, so tough luck for Yoko there. She couldn't have known that her Salamence would have been outsped. Well, she probably should have known if her Salamence is going to be outsped by Terrakion in that position. But Nicholas definitely making his best plays possible in that situation, capitalizing on passive force protect really from Yoko's side to pick up residual damage on this Aegislash turn after turn, and it increasingly looks like Yoko's top card dream is coming to an end here.
Man, she had just a very big lead at the start. I mean, for Pokemon, she could have just taken out a Golduck with, say, like a Shadow Ball or something. I mean, not to discredit her for getting the top 4. I mean, she did go through scenes and everything, but kind of a weird place recently.
We have to remember that Yoko's Aegislash does have that Shadow Sneak though, so Golduck isn't going to be able to fire off a Scald this turn. However, if Yoko gets off a double Protect with her no Protect coming out from the Excadrill, Shadow Sneak does pick up the KO on this Golduck. It really comes down to whether Aegislash here does have that, Terrakion here does have that Focus Sash. If not, Yoko might actually be able to close out this game with a super effective Flash Cannon when Terrakion has -1 defenses.
Pretty much the best play here for Nicholas is to protect the turn, make sure that Aegislash gets burn damage, and maybe try Rock Slide the next.
A Protect followed by a Rock Slide here is probably going to take out the Aegislash unless Yoko actually goes for the King Shield here, predicting that trying to protect alongside Nicholas's Terrakion. However, in that case, if Nicholas goes for the Rock Slide instead and therefore does not burn his Protect, he can stall the game by protecting the following turn. Goes for the Protect though. Does Yoko make the read and go for the King Shield as well? Yoko makes the read! Yoko makes the read! Aegislash Stand Shade is going back into shield form. This King Shield is gonna fail though, but this allows her to possibly survive the single target rock slide here and fire back with a flash cannon. It really comes down to whether rock slide firstly hits, secondly flinches the Aegis Slash. Rock slide going down on the Aegis Slash, does pick up the KO. And that is going to be game and set for Nicholas. Well played, well played. All right, great show of sportsmanship between both players there. Nicholas breathing a sigh of relief. He's got to know how close that second game was.
Nicholas was very well behind, but he did persevere. He did try and find a way to break through Yoko's Pokemon, and I think he managed to pick up a win for game 1 and game 2.
That burn, that skull burn on Aegis Slash in the end proving crucial, as you have to imagine that after all those turns of burn, Aegis Slash put itself into KO range from the rock slide. I think we're gonna have both, not one, both. I mean, you could translate for Yoko. Oh, okay. Yeah, okay. We'll have Yoko on stream first as well. Then.
Why?
Alright, and joining me on stream now is Yoko. Just knocked out up to top 4, but showed us a great match with a great team as well. Unfortunately, Dice Rolls did not go for her in the end, but I think she's still happy to walk away with a top 4 performance in this tournament. I'm going to be conducting this interview in Chinese because of language issues. Yoko 很遗憾你没能进入决赛，可是那场半决赛真的是非常的精彩。恭喜！我觉得第2场的最关键点就是，你的Bomanda 没有能够比他的 Terragon 快。你是知道他的 Terragon 会比你的Bomanda 快吗？还是？
那时候我太紧张了。不是只有Bomanda的Salamence的问题，还有我的 Aegis Slash 选择抉择的时候，我选择 Shadow Snake， 但是我应该要用 Shadow Ball。
I see. So Yoko has actually revealed that the turn that she actually Shadow Snaked the Golduck, she actually did misclick and was trying to Shadow Ball the Golduck there. So unfortunate, but after a long day, like we saw in the previous match, Theron, after playing such an amazing set of 3, did sludge bomb into a Heatran. Such fatigue creeping in onto the players is definitely acceptable. 你这一天已经玩了很多神奇宝贝，肯定累坏了，所以犯这种错误也不是太大的不可理解的，肯定不要太自卑。除了那之外，你觉得这场比赛你可以能够如何打得更好呢？
这次比赛的时候，我非常害怕对方的Golduck，因为我的队伍是Storm 队伍，所以我一看到他的Golduck的时候，真的不知道要怎么了。
Yoko there expressing her concern the moment she saw Golduck in team preview. Golduck, as I mentioned before, a very unorthodox Pokemon, but in this case, against the Sand team that Yoko has brought, has paid massive dividends for Nicholas moving on into the finals. 请问你会再参加新加坡的神奇宝贝比赛吗？好，那下次再见，谢谢。And that was Yoko. And following up, we're gonna have one of our finalists, Nicholas Ong, on stream. And joining me now is Nicholas, who is making his first finals appearance. Congratulations on a tournament well played.
Thanks.
Obviously, the talk of the town has to be that gold duck on your team. Okay, the talk of the town has got to be that gold duck. So can you tell me more about what went through your mind when building this team and how you actually arrived at gold duck?
I seriously can't hear.
Okay. You had a very interesting team choice on your team by choosing Golduck.
Yeah.
I'm curious to know how you went about building your team and how you eventually arrived at choosing Golduck to be a team member.
Because I kind of found my team rather weak to weather strategies such as just now sand and rain. So I thought Golduck would fit the build, and also it learns ice speed, and my team is also rather weak to ground type moves.
Right, right. Of course, we saw that Earthquake does do a lot of damage to all of your Pokemon, and having the ice speed has to be handy, especially with. I'm assuming you've got to outspeed Choice Scarf Landorus.
Huh?
You have to be outspeeding Landorus.
Yeah.
All right, that makes a lot of sense now. I mean, that's something I feel that a lot of players try to dismiss because players don't like to experiment with new Pokemon. But I think you've shown at our previous tournaments that you're not afraid to experiment, and this time finally it's paid off. So, you know, how does it feel to stick to your philosophy and get the wins?
I have no idea. I think I just won by luck.
All right. Going to the finals, though, I'm not sure who you're playing. I think do you know who you're playing in the finals?
Is it Kagon?
Okay, if you're playing Theron, I think you played him in Swiss rounds as well.
Yeah.
So, what do you feel going into the finals?
I'm gonna lose.
All right. Well, don't lose hope too early. You never know what can happen. You know, I think everyone in the room there thought that Hyper Voice was going to go off before the Terrakions Rock Slide, but you saw that you made your best play and it did pay off in the end. So hopefully you continue making those plays in the finals, and I'm looking forward to a very exciting finals match. Thank you, and we'll see you in the finals.
Thank you.